Search teams situated in Canada are continuing their search for OceanGate Titan submersible after losing contact during its expedition to the sunken Titanic.
The vessel has 96 hours of emergency oxygen, which will lapse close to Thursday afternoon. Ahmed Kaji has the details.
Archaeologists say at least 140 people have been down to explore the Titanic in the Atlantic Ocean since its sinking more than a century ago. The ship is currently situated 3.8 kilometers below sea level. 5 explorers on board the Titan submersible made their way down to the wreckage, but may not make it back alive. The Titanic, which was described as unsinkable at the time, hit an iceberg in 1912 while on its maiden trip to New York. The Titan has 5 people on board, including British billionaire adventurer Hamish Harding, Shahzada Dawood, his son Suleiman, and OceanGate Chief Executive Officer and founder Stockton Rush. French submersible pilot Paul-Henri Nargeolet is reportedly also on the vessel. The U.S. Coast Guard on Wednesday announced that a Canadian P-3 aircraft detected underwater noises in the search area, but officials have been unable to locate its exact origins. Speaking to Sky News, a former Royal Navy Rear Admiral Chris Parry says the immediate problem is there is no consistent transmission of a distress beacon. Meanwhile, Dick Barton, who is the first British diver to see the Titanic on the seabed, told ITV's Good Morning Britain that the wreck's local ebb and current inconsistently moves around, making it a very dangerous and hostile place to be. Speaking to the integrity of the Titan, he says the thrusters are quite strong, but at the end of the day, there needs to be balance between power and navigation. The top speed of the submersible is 3 knots, which is just below 6 kilometers per hour. At the same time, the Daily Telegraph is reporting that a remotely operated vehicle capable of winching the stricken vessel has been blocked from joining the rescue mission by the US government. The Titan was expected to spend 2 hours descending to the Titanic, a few hours exploring the site, and 2 more resurfacing. For Newzroom Afrika on Channel 405, I'm Ahmed Kaji.
For more on that story, we're joined by the University College London's Marine Engineering Professor Alistair Greig. A very good evening to you, Professor. Grateful for your time. So this morning we woke up to news that there were these banging noises detected within the search area where teams have been working over the last few days. But how significant a development is that? Is it a glimmer of hope?
I think it can be a very positive sign. What I'm understanding is these are at regular intervals, a regular pattern, which suggests they are man-made, not just the natural noise of the ocean. But they're still going to be very difficult to pinpoint.
And let's talk about the complexity of what now needs to happen as far as the work of the search teams is concerned. Yes, they've got these noises. You're saying it'll be difficult to pinpoint where exactly the sounds are coming from, but there's also the issue of the fact that the people inside the submersible are fast running out of oxygen.
That is correct. It's going to be a race against time. If they're sending a signal every half hour, they will have to be ready for the next burst of noise and try and refine the search area by having multiple buoys trying to triangulate on the position. The problem is that sound does not travel in a straight line through the ocean because of the variations in pressure, salinity, and temperature.
And what would that mean in terms of where the sound is detected versus where it may actually be coming from? How wide an area might that be?
That's very difficult to say how wide the area will be, but it will certainly make it much more difficult.
And in terms of the sub itself, a lot has been said about the safety and whether or not it was a good idea to send people in such a vessel to begin with. From what you understand, was this a safe thing to do to begin with?
I can't comment on that, but hopefully there will be an inquiry afterwards and they'll be able to make a decision upon that.
And Professor, the other issue here is the fact that multiple things may have happened since Sunday, and one of the options or one of the issues being explored is that the vessel may very well have experienced trouble and come back to the top of the ocean, but then finding it is what would present a complexity. What may be the other scenarios?
As you said, there's two scenarios, either that it's on the seabed or it's on the surface of the Atlantic waiting to be found. What suggests now is that it's on the seabed if these noises are being picked up. And it's a case of locating it, and then it'll have to be brought up to the surface to extract the crew, because the crew are bolted in. They cannot get out of the vessel on their own. They need assistance to get out. And that's true if it's on the surface or on the ocean bottom.
And what would be the conditions then at the ocean bottom? What would they be dealing with, considering that even the Titanic, the wreckage of that has been down there for so many decades?
Ambient temperature of deep ocean is a few degrees centigrade, 3 or 4 degrees centigrade, and it will be absolutely pitch black. Light cannot travel 4 kilometers through water, so it'll be pitch black. Clearly they'll be saving energy if they have it, so they won't have the lights on, and it will be starting to get quite cold. But they do have a very thick pressure hull, which will provide some insulation.
And what I'm picking up there is the threat potentially of hypothermia, which is another health risk as a consequence of what may have happened here, right, Prof?
I think hypothermia is not their main concern at the moment. It won't. Well, keeping them still and not moving much is what they want to do. They want to conserve their oxygen supplies.
And that's now at under 20 hours worth of oxygen supply within the vessel. If these people and the sub have not been found by this time tomorrow, what are the chances that there may still be a rescue and survivors?
Well, the longer it's left, the chances reduce. I think they will still try and recover the submarine just to find out what has gone wrong.
And how long, do we know how long a person would be able to be in those underwater conditions without the oxygen supply that's available inside the sub?
Don't know the exact figure, but it would not be that long.
And the number of people, 5 people, it's not a massive sub, it's not huge, it's a submersible, not a submarine. How much of a complication is that in terms of them being able to remain underwater and safe until they hopefully are found and saved?
I don't think that makes that much difference. It was designed just to go down for sort of 8-hour round trip, so it had a oxygen emergency supply of 70 to 90 hours, so that's considerably more than the normal trip time. So it had a large reserve.
Professor Alistair Greig, good to speak to you. Thank you so much for your time tonight.
Thank you. Good night.